Hello soulmates, welcome back to my YouTube channel, and if you are new here, you're welcome. In today's video, I'll be teaching you how to cut and sew this beautiful shift dress with this neck design. From the inspiration, the zipper was at the back, but for my own, I put the zipper at the front. So if you also want to put the zipper at the back, I will also explain to you how you can go about that. But for this tutorial, I placed my zipper at the front and it came out very nice and very easy. So if this is something you're interested in, please like, comment, share, subscribe, and without wasting much time, let's get right into the video. Welcome back, guys. So for this tutorial, we'll be needing 2 yards of fabric, that is our Ankara fabric. We'll need a stay, that is a facing. We'll need a zipper, and we'll need a plain fabric. The plain fabric and the zipper should be the same color, though mine was not the same color, but that was what I could see. So these are the materials you will need. So now this is my fabric and it is folded into 4. It is folded into 4. This is because I want to cut the front and the back together, and this is because I'm not adding zipper to the back. So if you're adding zipper to the back, you just have to cut one of these because we'll be adding a zipper allowance to the back. I hope you understand. So if you are cutting, if you want your zipper to be at the back, cut one of these just for the front. So at this side, you measure your shoulder measurement divided by 2. And for my sleeve, I'll be using 8.5 inches. So this 8.5 inches, that's 7.5 inches for the sleeve and 1 inch for the hemming. So that's 7.5. That's 8.5 rather. So at the point, you just really line downward, just like this. So for my shoulder slope here, I'll be measuring 1 inch, just 1 inch like this. Then I'll connect it. Yes, it should be connected to the top of this material because the ½ inch there is for the joining. So I later corrected that it should be connected to the upper part of your fabric. So for my sleeve opening, I'm using 8 inches for the sleeve opening, but I'm adding extra 1.5 inches, that's 9.5. 1.5 inches, that is half for the joining at the top and 1 for the joining at the side. So that's what I'm doing here. So the next thing I want to do is to measure my bust length. I'll measure my half length. Then I'll measure my hip length. So whatever your measurement is, just go ahead and determine that on your fabric. So and I'll just rule a line across this point. So now we'll start with the bust line, that is the bust length. So you measure your bust divided by 4. So my bust is 8.5 inches. Then I'll be adding ease allowance of just ½ inch. Ease allowance of ½ inch, then sewing allowance of 1 inch. That's 1.5 altogether. You know this shift dress is fitted, is not free. So I'm adding ease allowance of ½ inch, then sewing allowance of 1 inch. I'll also do the same as the waist area. So my waist area divided by 4. So my waist is actually 24. So that's 6 inches. Then I will add ½ inch for the ease allowance and 1 inch for the sewing allowance. That's 1.5 inches. I'll go ahead and measure the same thing too at the hip area. So my hip divided by 4, my hip is almost 9 inches. Then I will add ease allowance and hemming allowance. That's 1.5. So the sewing allowance is 1 inch, ease allowance is ½ inch. So now you connect this together. I'm connecting my waist to my hip, then I'll connect my bust to my waist. So for my waist, it was too sharp, so I'm trying to blend it in so that there won't be a problem when I'm sewing. So for this line here, just make sure you connect it towards the bust area. As you can see how I did this, then I just bent it in, like I just blend it in like that. So for my waist area, I told you that I'm trying to fill it up a little so that the curve is not too much. So now whatever I have at this hip area, exactly everything with the ease allowance and the sewing allowance, I'll just transfer it downward to the end of my gown. So I'll just roll it downward like that. Please bear in mind that I've not measured my gown length yet. So whatever your desired gown length, go ahead and just measure it. So I'm measuring the length of my gown now. So for me, I'm using 38 inches. So depending on what you want, if you want your gown to be shorter, you measure whatsoever you want your length to be. So this is just my preference. This is what I want. So I want it to be 38 inches. As you can see that I measure 40 inches. That is 2 inches for the hemming allowance at the lower part. So 38 inches for the length and 2 inches extra hemming allowance for the lower part. That's 40 inches altogether. So now I'm done with the marking of this. So I'll go ahead and just cut my fabric. Like I said, if you want your zipper to be at the back, so this one should be just a one piece, like just one. So when you are cutting the back, you add your zipper allowance. But for me, like I said, I placed my zipper at the front, so I just have to cut the front and the back the same. So let me go ahead and just cut this out. So for the neckline, I'll be using a neckline of 2.5 by 1 inch for the back. So for your back bodies, you use 2.5 by 1 inch, 2.5 inch wide by 1 inch deep. And you know, if you are putting a zipper at the back, there should be 1 inch allowance at that side, but you know mine is the same thing. So I went ahead to remove my back fabric away. So my back bodies is not here now. So this is the front. So what I'm doing now is to measure 1.5 inches like this. As you can see the way I'm measuring it, you measure it to the edge of your gown, then you just rule it. So you roll it out like this. So we are working on the front bodies. So you roll it out like this, and then from this side you measure your neckline. So I'm measuring about 7 inches like this. So that is what I'm measuring. As you can see, I'm measuring it on the new line I roll. So I'm measuring it like this, then I'll blend it towards the neckline. That is the initial neckline we cut earlier. So that was what I did. So I measured the 7 inches on this new 1.5 line that we ruled out. So and I blend it in from the neckline towards the part. So now I'll be cutting away this neckline with the 1.5 inches because we'll be replacing this part here with a plain fabric. So now you go ahead and measure this. So measure what you have here so that when you want to cut your plain fabric, you know what you are cutting. So mine with the back, I'm using about 45 inches. So whatever you have here, you measure the back neckline too. So now this is my fabric and I've added stitch. So for this is 5 inches. And when I fold it, it is 2.5. So when I sew, I have 2 inches. And for the length, it was what I measured for the front plus the neckline of the back. So you can have excess at this point so that if it is more than enough, you can trim it out. So I'm cutting 2 of this. You will cut 2 of it, then you join it together. So this is the fabric, then you join the fabric at the shoulder area with just ½ inch because that's the hemming allowance, sewing allowance we added rather. So you join this with ½ inch, and this is what we have. So for the neck design also, I went ahead to join it together, and the joining will be at the back. That is the back bodies. You fold it into 2. You fold it into 2 like this, then you notch. So you fold it into 2 just like this, then you notch this part here. So the joining of that design of that plain fabric should be matching with the notching at the back here. You can go ahead and hem and weave this plain fabric so that it doesn't start removing the threads. So you place this joining here to the notching at the back. So you place the joining to the notching at the back, then you sew from one side to the end, then you sew from the other side to the end. After sewing, this is what I have. As you can see, I have excess, so I'll just cut it away. So this is what I have, and it is looking pretty, like it is looking very fine already. So this is what it should look like. So now you go ahead and measure your neckline. You don't use 7 inches, so you measure 7 inches, and your zipper should start from that 7 inches downward. So your zipper should start from that 7 inches downward. Make sure you are using a zipper that will that will not get to the end of your gown, because there must be a slit at the edge so that you can walk freely. So I'm measuring the 7 inches right here, and then the zipper will start from the 7 inches and it will end somewhere close to the end of the gown. So it will be like this. So the zipper will be in between, and I'll just sew on top, like very close to the zipper. I will sew, then it will get to this lower part, it will get to the end here. As you can see, the space I see, so this here, space here, you know, I'll still end with 2 inches, so I still have like about 5 inches like space there. So now you go ahead and just sew. So for the length of my zipper, this zipper is 26 inches. So my zipper is 26 inches. You can buy a longer zipper so that you can cut it. I hope you get what I'm trying to say, so that you can cut it. So this is what my zipper looks like. So for those using a back zipper, so at this front here, you just place this design a little bit on each other, then you sew, and you also leave the space at the lower part, that 5 inches space without your hemming allowance. You leave it there. And for the back, the zipper will not start from the top, that is from the shoulder area. It will start somewhere like 7 inches below at the back. So it will start like 7 inches below at the back, and it will end around the hip area. So now let's go ahead and hem the sleeve parts. Then we'll also sew the side and hem the lower part of the gown. So now when you sew the sides, it is always important to notch this particular place so that when you are ironing, it will come out nice. It will come out very nice. So you try and notch this part here. So you notch it so that when you flip it to the right side and when you iron, that place will be perfect. So now this is what my gown looks like without ironing. So this is what the gown looks like, and I will go ahead and give it a very good press. So this is what the gown looks like. I'll go ahead and just iron right now. And after ironing and folding, this is what I have, and this is what the beautiful gown looks like. If you haven't subscribed to this channel, please subscribe, like, comment, share, and I will see you in my next tutorial. Bye.